Yeah, what's up everybody? Welcome to another tutorial of Benjamin Fearless graphic recording. I always get this one wrong. Today with the glasses, I hope I look very smart. And today we talk about materials, we talk about markers, because many of you asked which markers do I use, which markers can I recommend. And that's why I want to show my selection of tools that I currently use. Sometimes it changes, but I currently use the following setup, depending if I do a small sketch note or like a sketch note on a graphic recording on a small scale or on a bigger scale. And for every area I have different markers, and I want to show you the markers I have and in which situation I use what. So let's go. Yeah, and here they are. Here are my markers. Nice selection. You may see that the main brand here is called Neuland. So it's Neuland. That's also because Neuland is a quite nice company, and I'm also, to show it to you, I'm a Neuland tool master. So advertising, but it's not only advertising, it's also the tools are really great. And since you asked me what I use, I show you what I use. And this is Neuland. So it's all Neuland markers, just one different markers in there, and I'll show you why I use the different markers. So okay, let's take the markers off. Okay, here we are. So we have different markers for different areas, and I will show you now. And here they are. And now, which marker do I use for what? So the first marker I use, that's like also the marker that I use mainly, is a FineOne Outliner. I put links to the markers in the text, so don't worry. So it's an outliner, and I use this outliner mainly for titles. So when I make on a small scale sketch notes, or like on a small piece of paper in a notebook, I use the FineOne for titles. And when I write text, I use another one. It's called a FineOne Sketch. It's the Neuland FineOne Sketch. It even has my name printed on there, like a super special edition. There exists only one marker until now. So I use this one for text and for drawing small icons. Or symbols. Used for icons or symbols, so it's a smaller marker. And then actually from the Neuland family, I miss a marker in between. Here, so I place this one here. I miss one marker that's like fits the gap between those two, and that's why I use one marker from another company. It's a Staedtler Pigment liner, and it's also therefrom it's a very special one because it has it's 0.3 until 2, and I use this one for subtitles. And as you can see, it fits the gap between like the thin line and the thicker line over here. So I place this here. So those are the blacks for when I do work on small scale, and I rather call this sketch note in graphic recording. Graphic recording is for me a bit bigger, and that's why we go now to the other side. And we start from the bottom, so let's start with the text here. And the text here, look at this, it's the same markers over here. So I use, when I work on a bigger size, like A2, flip chart, and even bigger, I use this marker here for writing also texts and making small drawings. So it's again the Neuland FineOne. I use this one here for text and icons or symbols. So maybe put the line here, it's nicer. Exactly, this is what I use for, like I said, for icons or symbols. Place it here. And then the next one, it used to be like the older version is this outliner here, and all the orange markers by Neuland, by the way, are they have a special ink to them that dries fast. It has little bit of alcohol in it, I think, and but it dries fast. So when you go over it with another color, it doesn't smear, it doesn't blur. So I use this one here now. You see, it's a thicker line here already, and I use this one for subtitles. You see it's already getting bigger, so use this one for subtitles, the outliner. And then they created quite a new marker, is the TwinOne. It's a twin marker, so it has on the one side it has a brush pen, on the other side it has a chisel tip, and it's nice because you can play around with both with it. And I also use it for subtitles, but also for drawing. So you can also say subtitles. And I love it that it has a brush pen, because you can play around like with the size of the pen of the marker. Also, you can do it with the chisel tip one. So you have like the wide side and you have like the small side. And I love it when I don't have to use too many tools. So when you have like markers that provide different stroke sizes within them. And that's why I love to work with those two. And of course, the little one here. And then for the big headlines, I use, it's called a BigOne. It's a Neuland BigOne marker. So it's really for the title. So when I make huge titles, I use this one. I use the big one, but I use it mainly also on the small side, on the smaller side of the chisel tip, because when I use it on the wide side, it's really fat. It's like a fat marker. And I use this when I make like huge posters, when it's like, I don't know, 3 meters, 5 meters, 6 meters. When I make huge posters, I use the fat one. The fat, I like the wide side of the marker, because it's really bold. And when you use it like on a flip chart size, it's like really draws a lot of attention to it. So I'm a bit careful with this size, but using like the BigOne marker on the smaller size is quite nice. Then going to the colors. With the colors, I mainly use also for like the small sketch noting. I use those are also from Neuland. It's called the art marker, and the art marker has a brush tip to it. So it has it's like a brush tip which also has like different sizes to it. You can use. I use this for coloring also in a smaller scale, but also in a big scale. And also here again, quite new, they have the Neuland TwinOne. So again, you have on the one side, you have like a chisel tip, and you have like a brush tip, like where you can make thin and thick lines, but also have like this typical chisel tip line with here. And it's the color number 500. It's my personal yellow, so I use this also for coloring. And then when I go into the big sizes again, on the big size again, I use also again a big one, but it's like not the orange one, it's the black one, and the black one has more. It's also a water-based ink. It doesn't dry as quickly, but I use it also for coloring. Sometimes, like I said, for writing with the darker colors, and that's how I bring colors into my pictures. And let's go to the last ones. Those are the gray ones, and the gray ones I use, of course, for shading. And the classical one is here. This one is also an art marker. It's basically this one in gray, and I use like the typical. It's like the It's number 101. Is it? It's like the number 101 marker, and I use it for classic shading, just for shading, making forms and making shade around it. I use this one. Then I like to use this one. It's a 102. It's like a lighter gray. You can see it's a bit lighter, also with a brush tip. But sometimes when you make a post and you make a picture out of it, it's actually a nice gray. But sometimes when you take pictures out of the gray, then it's kind of tricky, because sometimes you can't see it. And then totally, this was my classic family, and now I also start to use another gray. It's like a darker gray. It's a 105 gray. It has like this color. It's a really dark gray. And I use this gray also for newly to make also to draw with it icons, to draw with it little symbols, people, everything like the decorative elements beside the text I start to use with the darker gray. And I also made a tutorial on this one where you see how I use this one instead of making like the icons or the symbols with the black, because when you use a rather gray tone for your icons and your symbols, it doesn't interfere as much with the text. And for me, it's important to get your point across, to get the information across. So for me, the text is like the most important thing on my sketch notes or on my graphic recordings, and everything else is just supporting, how to get the message across. And that's why I want to have it that the text is always clear to see and easy to read, and everything else is just supporting and decorating like the information. And that's why I started to use a dark gray now for for drawing symbols, icons, and everything. And this is basically my setup I use. Of course, I use with the colors, I use different colors depending on where I am and depending what kind of poster I want to draw. But those are the basic tools I have, and I recommend, especially from the blacks, like in the smaller size or in the bigger size, always have at least a double package or triple package of the blacks with you, because when you run out of black, it's kind of sad. Why Neuland colors? Why Neuland colors? Because I'm a tool master? No. Why Neuland colors? I use Neuland colors because you know, they doesn't smell. The ink is water-based. You can exchange the tips. You can refill them easily, really easily. They have like a pipette system where like put like drops in the back of the markers. All the markers have like a little hole here where there's a membrane in it, and you can use ink. I will get some ink now. Yeah, so here's the refill ink, and you see you open it up, and it has a small needle to it, and you just like get out some ink here in this small plastic bowl, open it up, and fill it into your markers, like here inside here, and that's really easy and almost without any troubles. Good, and yeah, those are my markers that I use, and of course you have to find your markers that you use, but this is the set I have, and like I said, all the description for the markers are in the text. Okay, and that was it already. And if you want to buy a Neuland marker, advertising, I can give you a 50% discount if you write me an email, or if I get it done, that I have a small automation which I will put into the description here, that you can directly, for signing up to the newsletter, you get a 15% discount. So that's it for now. I hope you liked the little video. Give it a like if you liked it. Comment what kind of markers you use. These are the ones I use. Everything I do it's a recommendation. There's no law that's like written in stone. It's a recommendation. Those are the tools I use. I just made a small tutorial out of it because people ask me for what I use. Also, type in your experience into the comments. What markers do you use? What recommendations do you have? And have a nice day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and see you next time. Bye.